Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing great. Apollo wanted to wish you a wonderful morning as well, or evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. And I'm so excited to be doing a reading today for your sign. So I'll let you get one last look at this cutie pie, and then we'll get started, okay? So first of all, such powerful energy coming through for Pisces this month and today as well. Here in America, it's Martin Luther King Day, or Dr. Martin Luther King. And so there's a lot of beautiful energy that I was receiving in dreaming, but I also realized we were tapping into some of that peaceful, loving energy, which is something that I definitely want to put into today's forecast for you as well. So we'll be reading for the month of February. One of the cool things, though, is as we've started to do all of these live readings, it's giving you maybe a 4 to 6 week period because you get them in advance of the new month. You get a chance to really make some decisions to adjust what's coming through. And also you get a lot more time to prepare for opportunities as well. So I'm super excited to look at February. Let's talk a little bit. I'll begin with the basics, which is who I am. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I organize the reading into a few distinct parts every month. I like to start off with channeled information. And that's what I do when I show up here early for about an hour. Actually, today I was downloading stuff, putting it on paper. Even I had to research a couple of things too, and I got ready to share all of that for you. So we have a lot to talk about in just a minute for that channeled information. After that, we're going to use a deck of cards and take a look at everything that's coming through, highlights, challenges, etc. And then I expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. With this new live format, something that I like to do at the end is a focused sort of reading and meditation, where this month I'm going to help every sign with manifestation. So based on what we see today, we'll look and kind of figure out what you could basically do to create something in your life, whether it's love, a career, or just self-improvement. And we'll see what messages appear, and I'll help you with that in the meditation. In addition, today I want to do a little bit of a peaceful benediction or blessing for the planet for peace. I think that's a nice way to honor the memory of Martin Luther King. So we will do that as well. Now let's talk. Actually, before I get started, I noticed that somebody already sent a super chat. So I just want to say thank you. And if anybody would like to do the same, let me just get a piece of paper here. It helps to have a visual. There's a little tiny icon right next to the emojis, and that will allow you to just say hi. It's like a high five. You can send a sticker or a quick comment, just like I see right there. So thank you so much. One thing that I don't do in my readings, this isn't going to be like pick a card or Q&A. I am going to have a Q&A for my 200,000 milestone, but today it's just going to be a way to say thank you. And by the way, welcome to the new member. If you'd like to join the channel, this is cool. For those of you that do become a member today, you can actually ask a question about intuitive development by going to the community tab, and you can submit it for the 200,000 milestone video that I'm going to do. So just a little bonus for anybody on Patreon or that is a channel member like we just saw. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into your channeled message for today. There's so much to talk about. It actually came through partly when I was dreaming before I even got started this morning. And then the other piece came through as I was getting ready, taking a shower. And then as I sat down, I was like, it just keeps coming, all of this information. And one of the great things about doing you as the final sign is I am wide open intuitively. I've been doing this 11 times before today. So there's a lot of information and I'm really open like a sponge. So I can't wait to kind of share this with you. So here's what came to me. In my dream, I kept kind of feeling like I was going through an endless maze. And each time I would find like a different door that would lead to another maze or different ways into other dimensions or other realities. And I woke up and I thought, what's this about? What's all the mazes about? And then as I was taking a shower this morning, my guides whispered to me Ariadne, which is a Cretan princess or also mentioned in Greek mythology. So for any of you that might be a fan of modern movies, she was also a character in Inception. She was the one that scribbled out the mazes when Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to find a new architect to create sort of protection in his dream state. And that sort basically she was a builder. So she also had a special kind of symbol. They called it a totem in the movie to tell her if she was awake or asleep, and that was a bishop. All of these things have to do with you. So I'm going to break it down. First of all, the maze portion was about finding another way out. Ariadne is the creator. She's actually the one that is the architect, or the one that's creating the layers of complexity in her own life. Or in the movie, she was creating the complexity in the sort of dream state. In mythology, it was to hide the Minotaur. So what I would say for you is, are you making things easy on yourself or complex? Could there be another way that you could approach things? And in doing so, maybe make things a little bit more relatable for people in your own life. And so what I wrote first was, there's another way or another solution. And looking at it from a different perspective, and also taking accountability and thinking, I have power to create something easier, create something better. Looking at how she functioned in both mythology and also in the movie, it's also a note about protection, taking care of yourself. Look at your password. Look at the locks on your door. Look at security. Pay attention to who you're talking to. Think of like the Three of Cups. Is there going to be gossip going on? And so I would say, looking at a different way to get something done, paying attention to security. And then as we look at her totem in the movie, the bishop, that's the Hierophant in what we're doing today with tarot. And for me, what is the Hierophant? He's also involved with layers of bureaucracy, which can sometimes feel like a maze because you have to navigate it. And what I'm seeing here is that you could create new and or better structures. There's a different way to get something done. It could be stronger, because I see the combination of Ariadne and the Hierophant as being able to create something that hasn't been done before. So there's also something very entrepreneurial about this. One last time, I'll break it down. Think of new solutions to old problems. You can probably find a better way. Realize that you may be the only one that understands the solution at the beginning. That could be advantageous. You could use this in a business sense to get a patent, etc. Look at layers of security in your own life. Are you doing enough to protect yourself, your families, and anything that you're trying to create, especially intellectual property? Make sure that there's enough security. And finally, remember that if it doesn't exist, maybe you are tasked with building it, with creating it. There's a lot of power in all of these symbols that came through. You didn't just get one. I kind of got this connection, the maze, then the creator of the maze, and then her sort of symbol in the movie, which all kind of fits together nicely. So there's a lot of very cognitive energy around this month. It's problem solving, creativity, ownership, protection, but really being awake, aware, ironically being awake because she was creating a dream state, and really making sure that you kind of maybe bring your dreams and execute upon them. I think it's not accidental that we're talking about that sort of nexus between dreams and reality today. So like I said, there was a lot of information that came through. As we take a look at the Celtic cross, I'll try to bring those three threads into the reading as well. Where could there possibly be a solution? Is there a place where you need to protect yourself? And is there something that you could build, if I had to kind of summarize that? All right. So for those of you that missed, it was Inception. But the person I was talking about was Ariadne, and she's in mythology. All right, I'm going to turn the camera down at this point, and I'm going to lay out a Celtic cross, and we're going to look at the high points, the challenges, all of the opportunities. And by the way, if you happen to be joining right now and you want to check what I just said, this is all available on replay afterwards, and I also think you can kind of rewind to the beginning. So in the meantime, let me shuffle the cards, and I'll rejoin you afterwards. So thank you for being patient. This just allows me to focus and receive additional information. Again, we're reading for February 2020. right, everybody, thank you so much for being patient. Let me just arrange the cards here, and we're going to go through what we see here. Okay, so this card took its sweet time to come through, but it's comparison. And when we look at this, we see like a very strong tree here and then a young bamboo shoot here. So I think that depending on where you're at in your life, you could be sort of trying to rush to completion, rush to a phase where it's really about building something strong. We talked about structures with the Hierophant, and we see the Hierophant here and the Bishop. So I would say anything that's worth creating takes time, takes energy. And if you look at someone that's further along in their life, more established, maybe just has more to start with, it can be frustrating because you think to yourself, why can't I have that? Why is it taking me so long to get there? One thing that I love about bamboo is that it's surprisingly strong, and it's also very resilient. If we were to cut this, there would be new shoots. It doesn't give up. It's very, very perseverant. So I would say don't underestimate your ability to grow, because the one thing that is not great about this tree on the other side here is that it's already committed to its path. Going into the energy of the maze, which flows, and you can shift and you can create a new corridor. That's what I saw, is that you would kind of open one door to another dimension or another opportunity. With this, again, we could cut something and new things could shoot off from that. So if you've hit a point in your life where there's been a closed door, or you've had something where it just didn't work out, you're going to evolve this month. You're going to innovate and find another way to get it done, because that's what bamboo does. It doesn't give up. It keeps moving. It keeps going. It can sort of be sort of like an invasive weed sometimes. So use that energy of, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to surprise you. And because of that energy of spreading, that's abundance to me. So I'll take this green and flexible and perseverant energy over this, especially based on what we're seeing here. And I think it's a good thing. So there's a trade-off, but I think it's like apples to oranges. So you don't have to have one or the other. Look at who you are. And I think you're indicated by the bamboo shoot here, and think, I have a chance to change and I have a chance to grow. And if I lose something, I can kind of like this, I'll grow it back. I'll find another way to get it done. So I really, really like that. Try not to compare yourself with someone else. That's kind of like 4 or 5 of cups, right? When you're thinking, it's taken longer than I thought, or I've given up these resources, or I'm not as fortunate as this person. There's a missed window or a missed perception that's happening with that, and you have a chance to kind of shift it around. Easy does it. We have Temperance at the center here, and this really is about weighing out your options. It's about trying to figure out, I think pacing this month is going to be really important, and that's what Temperance is coming through and saying, because right on top of this, we have a very active card, the Wheel of Fortune. So there may be a period where you're thinking, it's just kind of flatlining. So this is the point where you'll be creative, you'll try something new, and that's when I see rapid growth. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune is showing. It also shows me that you have enough. Whatever you're making, as far as your money goes, or the opportunities coming into your life, we have the 6 of Pentacles, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But the 2 of these cards shows me more than enough, and in fact, an opportunity maybe to take, for those of you that have a surplus and think, I could maybe put a little bit aside for a rainy day. I could maybe invest in something else. If it's time and energy, you might think about redirecting something so that you could do some personal development as well, because the 6 of Pentacles was reversed, and that's deciding maybe to take a little bit back and give to you. And especially for those of you that find yourself constantly in a space where you're healing, you're helping, you're providing, then this is a chance for you to say, okay, I am going to make sure that I'm taken care of, that my health is taken care of, that I'm also going to be able to be self-sustaining. Because what I see in the environment is some of these people don't know when to stop taking or asking, and you may not be able to say no and stop giving. And that especially happens, 5 of Pentacles is people that you love, like specifically parents and children. It can be a best friend. It can just be someone in your life that always seems to sort of have a difficult story, a difficult time. And I just see you guys as having like an open pocket, an open heart. And I think it's good to lend support, but there does have to be a limit. And one thing that's really important with the 6 of Pentacles is, notice all of the hands there. This person has to decide, how can I best make use of this. Even a philanthropist has to do this. Let's take like a billionaire that's going to purposely give away their fortune. They have to look at all of the opportunities on the planet and think, how can I take this and make the biggest influence before I leave the planet? So on its highest energy, you still have choices. Even a philanthropist would have to make a smart choice. So yeah, make some smart choices with where you invest your time and energy, who you decide to help. Make sure you're also helping yourself. Any parent, any guardian, any person in a position of needing to give also needs to sustain. And that's the message with that. We see the Five of Cups here in the deep past. I talked about that a little bit when I was looking at comparison. With the Five of Cups, it often comes at a period in your life where there may be both loss and gain, or maybe there has been recent loss. And what you're trying to do is look at, why did this happen? And what did I learn? And is it worth me continuing to be in this place? And so this is the deep past. Some of you may have already decided to move beyond it, but if it still exists in your life, the Five of Cups could represent a relationship where, the two of you have just been going through a really tough time, and you're not sure if you can work it out, or maybe it's a job, the same thing, where you're just not getting respected or treated the way you need to. In a family, this could also show sickness, or someone that's kind of trying to deal with the difficult time. So this is a chance for you to think, am I making a difference here? Is this someone or something that's receptive to my energy? If not, one of the important things, particularly if there's anyone in your life that's like an addict, or it just is not receiving, you have to wait for them to ask. You have to wait for them to come to you. And I think that's the message there too. It's hard, right? Because we want to give. I see the generosity right at the center. But give in a way that makes sense, and use or save this for a time when they're ready to receive. We got the Bishop, which is part of what the channeled message was, the Hierophant. And so let's talk about the Hierophant. I kind of hit on that a little bit. For those of you that joined late, I was talking about Inception. I was talking also about Ariadne, which her name was very symbolic in the movie. And as are all the little pieces in that movie. It's a great psychic fiction sort of piece of work, or a piece of artwork, I think. But anyway, the Bishop or the Hierophant, a lot of times it shows a rigid structure that you may or may not want to kind of coexist in anymore. So this can be academia, this can be government, it can be a family or a culture that tends to be very closed-minded. And that's part of the Five of Cups there, is, do I fit in? Do I feel like I'm part of this team, or am I an outsider? Am I always trying to knock on the door and get people's attention? And so if that's the case, then for some of you, you may decide to travel, to take a sabbatical, and just sort of see, who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Because this may not be me. The other piece of this is it's a fantastic building card. So the Hierophant is part of an existing structure, one of the ultimate hierarchies. So you can, this month, take your time and energy and really slowly begin to build something, realizing that, what is the phrase? Rome wasn't built overnight, or something like that. But it's going to take time for this sort of bark to happen. And, like, this thing has to grow. It takes, hundreds and hundreds of years sometimes for these things to happen. It won't take that long in your life. But what I would say is, if you rush to the finish, you are going to miss the lessons along the way. You might have to repeat things. And what's important for you is to take time, so that when you build this next phase of your life, whether it's entering into a new relationship, fixing your health, getting a new job, one where you're actually respected, etc., you want to make sure that you are discerning and that you are paying attention to all of the symbols and signs along the way. And I think that's the other reason that I was kind of connecting with Inception, is dream versus reality. We sleepwalk through our lives a lot, and we forget what's going on. It takes sort of a tower moment for some of us, whether it's, a death of a loved one, maybe even a positive windfall, like money coming into your life, you win the lottery or something like that, or new love enters your life. These are sort of like someone takes jumper cables and hits our heart space, and all of a sudden we're awake and we're alive, and we look around and everything smells and looks and feels new. Well, we can do a little bit of that every day. And that's what the Five of Cups in the past is reminding you. Have you learned that lesson, that each day is a reset, that you should constantly be trying to wake yourself up? There's probably a reason that I like The Matrix and Inception. It is because it is about really going beyond the expected and realizing that we can shape things. There's a really strong power and architectural sort of energy in both movies. They both have architects as a character. Interesting. All right. So as we look at opportunities this month, it really is limits that you place on yourself, that others place on you, choices that you make, being discerning, being picky, and also realizing that you have more than enough. Six of Pentacles is my baseline for success, and particularly when it comes to budgeting. So if you make smart choices, you're going to be awesome. If you overextend, it's going to be a barely break even experience. And for some of you, that barely break even experience could also be a sort of symbolic or figurative sort of thing when we're looking at relationships. Are you getting that sort of reciprocity that we would see in the Six of Pentacles? Or is it more take that we see in the Five of Pentacles? There is a chance this month to do something akin to a sabbatical. For some of you, it could be a retreat. I see a temporary removal and then a chance for you to come back, or a temporary parting of the ways. We have two cards here that indicate this, and it may end up being longer term than you think. But the first one is the Eight of Cups. For me, the Eight of Cups always means that the door is open. And so if you choose to quit a job or leave a relationship or stop something, there's a chance to go back to it. What we see here with the Six of Swords, there's a lot more permanence with that. It's in the outcome. So there's a choice for you. Is this going to be temporary? Is it permanent? Is it temporary leading into permanent? So when we look at jobs, what this is showing me is if you want a permanent job, I would not accept a contract this month that is temporary, because I don't want to see it go from the Eight of Cups to the Six of Swords. That means that they say, oh, it could be temp to perm, but they run out of funding or budget, as we see with this. So you want to get it all in writing and make sure that you absolutely are taken care of and that there is a long-term contract. With work, though, if you wanted to quit your job, there may be a chance to just take 2 or 3 months off and do some soul searching. So this is kind of like a journey card, taking a trip, exploring who you are, figuring out what's important to you, and then coming back. So the door is open for many of you. There's also travel indications with both. At least 2 trips, at least 2. One that may be welcoming, may be sort of leisurely. The other one that is kind of unexpected, further away, and could be something that you have to kind of weigh out and see if it makes sense. So in relationships, I feel like it's going to be it's a challenging month for some of you that are in an existing one, because the partner may be pulling away. The Six of Swords does not necessarily mean that your partner doesn't love you or wants to break up. It could just mean that they are more distant, because quite literally this shows someone who's not in the same space as you. So it could be because they're kind of playing the hermit. They're working too long. They're at their office too much. Their work requires them to take business trips, or they're just not opening their heart space to you, something that we see here. You know, it's harder to see because it's black and white, but there's a person here that wants to reach out to this person, but they've turned their back on them. And there's this sanctuary behind them. This is an interesting piece with the Five of Pentacles. Things are better than you think. There's more love available to you than you realize, but you have to turn around. You have to be sensitive. You have to open up. And both with the Four and the Five of Pentacles, there's a shutting down of the heart space that happens. This one, it's about an intimate connection between you and someone else. With the Four of Pentacles, it can sometimes be your own fear of intimacy or kind of unwillingness to invest in something. So there's some choices. Relationships can definitely heal because your ego is Three of Wands. And for me, this is one of the most optimistic cards in the deck. It means anything you want to create, you can. So if you want to heal something, if you want improvements, it'll happen. But you have to put your intention there. The card was reversed, which means things take longer than expected. So if we look at how many sort of wands are in these 2 different fiery cards here, we have the 2 here and we have the 3 here. So 2 to 3 months is what I'm seeing for many of you. 4 things to come. And then we also have a 5 here. So up to a total of 5. So this is something, if you're trying to make some changes, give yourself just under half a year to see all of it happen. But in 2 to 3 months, a lot of this will start to change towards the positive. I think the key thing for you this month is worth, self-worth, and also being recognized, being acknowledged, feeling like people around you value who you are. So that's what the Five of Pentacles is. If we take away the monetary pieces of it, it's, do I feel worthy? And is someone worthy of my time and energy too? It's in the environment. So one thing that I will say, it's not actually your state of being. Your potential this month is the Wheel of Fortune, a breakthrough, a new job, new opportunity, new love, moving, a new cycle for the whole year. So everything that I'm setting up here is actually so you can get to the Wheel of Fortune. And you have to weigh options. Your true energy of the month is the Six of Pentacles, which is choices. So the illusion, the dream state right now is the Five of Pentacles, which is feeling like you're not getting what you need, you're barely getting by, you're not being respected. And so for some of this, it's actually not it's the, what would you call it? I would say it's not the root of the problem, it's actually the symptoms. So what you want to do is get back to the core cause of what is bringing forth the Five of Pentacles. Your own self-worth, your own self-confidence, other people's inability to kind of take their blinders off and recognize your contributions, a lack of resources. It could literally mean like you're working at a place where people just don't have enough help or they're not investing enough in the people for it to move forward. And in a relationship, the same thing. Does your partner want this to work enough for it to work? If you're single and happy, this really has to do with your ability to work on yourself this month, because some of the strongest cards, if we move along to opportunity, we have strength. And this is about taking care of your health, owning your own power, and maybe just being tired of forcing people to do stuff. As much as I love the strength card, there is a dominance that happens within the strength card, usually divine feminine over divine masculine. It can also be a balancing card because we're at a point in history and the planet where the divine feminine isn't where it needs to be. So it needs to come through as strength sometimes just to get its balanced approach. So this month I can see a little sense of exhaustion. Like, why is it taking so much? Why am I not getting the same, even though I'm working just as hard? So whether it's literally a job where you're a woman and you're not getting paid the same as your male counterparts, or you're in a relationship, it could be two men. One of you is working really hard, but the other one's kind of giving up. There's that sort of symbology of one doing more than the other. And this month, I would say retract a little bit and see, is it going to come back? Is it going to ebb and flow? If not, then it's your symbol to move on. And that's what we see with the Six of Swords here. Now, the other thing, whenever I see a card like this reversed, is take a vacation. Some of you are just tired. The Strength card can indicate fatigue. The Five of Pentacles can show that you've gotten a cold because you've worked so hard. And the Three of Wands tells me it'll be a-okay once you do that. So take care of yourself. Some of it is just a matter of personal self-care. And if we just look at it that way, maybe your relationship's awesome, everything's good in business, you're just overdue for a break. And during that break, by the way, you may come up with some fantastic idea or epiphany that you can use in your life to become more successful and more fulfilled, etc. Because this temperance, this sort of ability to just be relaxed and balanced a little bit more is going to help you be more productive and make more with what you have. Okay? So what I would like to do now is to expand the forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these particular categories is going to give us a new lens with which we can view everything that we've seen. And as you can tell, this is a very multifaceted reading this month. There's a lot of messages. So depending on where you're at in your life, one of these should apply. So we have action coming through in health. We have fire and passion, and someone that's kind of a fire breather, actually. So when I look at that, hello, your throat chakra is something that you really want to pay attention to. And the power of your words. Although we didn't get, I'm looking really quickly, we didn't get any swords cards here. So except the Six of Swords, but no court cards within the sword suit. So what this is telling me for many of you is it's kind of a combination of what I would see with maybe a king or a knight of wands, and then also one of like an ace of swords or something. It's the ability to take your thoughts and somehow convey them, knowing that your ideas have the ability to sort of create that energy that we see here, get people's attention. So pay attention to the words that you're using this month. And even though this is coming through in health, what I'm seeing is if you speak your mind, you're going to be able to find your power and kind of chip away at some of the self-worth issues that are going on. It could also be speaking up and saying, I need a vacation, or I need more money, or I need more resources, or I don't want to take that trip. your voice is really, really important. So symbolically, what we're looking at here is that you have to speak up. And also, if there's something going wrong in your body, go to a doctor, talk to them. And if the first one doesn't hear you, find another one. It's really important to be heard this month and to speak up. Communication is key. Because we see fire right around the throat and also upper chakras, there could be activations happening for some of you. When I first started to wake up intuitively, I actually lost my voice for a few days when my throat chakra opened up, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I had this really intense meditation. I had actually just walked into like a sanctuary space, and I was meditating to an ascended master, and they came through, and I could feel the energy open up the throat, but I didn't know what was going on. So sometimes it's not always a bad thing. It's just new energy integrating within your body. So what I found in my life was, though, there were areas where, just like the spread, I had to speak up. And once I spoke up and communicated what was wrong, my throat was better, and I could get back to where I was before that. So when things go wrong in our body, a lot of times they are signals to pay attention to where you're at. Like when I was making some of the changes in the format for the readings, my knees hurt for a couple weeks because I was changing the sort of structure of everything. And once it was solid, then I felt good again. So sometimes how we are feeling is actually how we are feeling emotionally. So physical and emotional, really important to bring the two together. Pay attention to saying what you need to. And if you're having activations in the throat, in the third eye, or in the seventh chakra, connecting you to the universe, just take your time. Try to focus on grounding too. Looking at some other things coming through just in the cards here, I would say, I was mentioning knees and legs and circulation in that area. Five of Pentacles has to do with making sure that you have steady footing. A lot of times you'll see people with crutches. So watch where you're walking, especially for those of you, I think I saw one of the Scandinavian countries. If it's icy outside, be very careful. You want to make sure that you just don't slip and fall. That's something that happens. This is a snowy card. You can see the snow. So be careful in inclement weather. And also, this can just be a seasonal cold or flu. I know I recently just had an ear infection, and that never happens to me, but this is winter. That's what happens. So just take care of yourself. If you're run down, you're more apt to have those issues popping up. The other thing is, I mentioned this, you have a chance here to break a cycle. We have the Eight of Cups, which means that initially this will be difficult for you. So like cigarettes, alcohol, sugar, or a harder sort of form of substance abuse, it may be difficult. You may fall off the wagon a little bit, but after that, you can let it go, have it be gone. One of the things that's missing in this card, but you typically see, is a ghost in the Six of Swords. So it'll just be a little shadow of the past. So you have a chance to take care of your overall strength this month and get to a place where you basically feel healthy and happy. And with strength, of course, there's just a chance for you to really focus on building up your body mass a little bit, like working out. But it doesn't have to be working with weights. You could just do yoga, Pilates, sit-ups, push-ups, use sort of like natural forces as well. So there was a lot with health. As we look at wealth, it's about clarity. It says your connections to crystals and gemstones is a channel for healing and energy. But when I see crystals, I also think of how clear are you on your vision? And this reminds me of the Two of Wands, which is holding your vision, holding your dream in your hands, being clear on that. This was reversed. So for some of you, there is a reluctancy to allow for that truth that you already know exists to kind of manifest and come into your life. Be clear on that. Look through the illusion of what's going on in the environment. Look at the reality here and realize that opportunity is knocking. For some of you, this is going to require leaving, traveling, or having a really difficult conversation with someone and waiting to see if they're going to come there. And if not, just giving them maybe an ultimatum and saying, either I need to get this title or this pay or this recognition in the relationship, or you need to start showing up, or I'm going to move on. So somehow equity, when it comes to your payment and your position, it needs to sort of be evened out a little bit. Looking at love, the focus is less on you and more on youth or your inner child. It says your love life is being affected by children. The card was reversed. Some of you may simply not want children, and your partner may want it. You may be at a point where you're trying to question if you need that in your life. There could also be, again, a healing that's happening with your inner child, because to me, when I read for clients and I get the Five of Pentacles, a lot of times we need, and the Strength card, that would be a connection between you and your mother, or you and a very strong maternal energy in your life. And I would say there's healing that can happen this month between you and your mom, or if you're a parent and you have children, there's increased energy that seems to want to go there. For the rest of us, myself included, that don't have children, it can be people that are kind of like a direct, sort of dependent on you. Apollo went in, he's in his other bed here. He has like 3 or 4 all around me. But for me, it could be something like a pet, or it can also be a parent in your life that now is sort of at a point where they need more care. So maybe elder care as well. So there's some sort of a dynamic going on with people that you kind of are in charge of or responsible for, or feel like you want to help. I mentioned philanthropy earlier, and some of you may be at a really blessed place in your life where you have extra to give, because we did see the Wheel of Fortune, and then I do see this sort of philanthropist card. So if there's something that you want to do, it could be about giving back to youth. So whether it's a college fund, or helping some sort of young women's or young men's association and trying to help them where you didn't have it when you were growing up, that'd be a great way to invest and give back. Ultimately, when you do stuff like that, it heals the inner child as well. As your outcome card here, this is destiny. When we're looking at the expanded forecast, destiny is not only sort of kind of like where you're headed, but you have a lot of choices. That's why we show up early here. And what we have here is forgiveness. And we were just talking about that with like parents, children, or people in your life that you feel are kind of under your charge. It says, forgive yourself. You've done nothing wrong. I would say for you, especially if someone in your life is treating you poorly for something you can't control, right? So let's say that you love an individual and you can't control who you love, and they're angry because that didn't meet their expectations of what your partner should look like. Or maybe because you've chosen a career that doesn't align with what they wanted for you, or that they just never were able to give you the unconditional love and support that you needed. You didn't do anything wrong in that particular situation. This is something where, you know, we are born the way we are born, and there are certain situations around us that we can't control. You do the best. You can't really control your heart on some levels. So if you're drawn through passion to do something in your life, and it comes from a place of love, of light, of transparency and honesty, forgive yourself, because it's really the other person that lacks the love, the light, the compassion, the empathy. I forgot to mention for relationships, I'm going to look really quickly here. We see a potential Leo coming into your life. There does seem to be distance between that person. So if you're looking for love, I see a very strong energy. The only thing that I'm seeing also with that is that they may have a little bit of a control streak with them. So I think one thing that we're seeing across the board, whether it's love or work this month, is making sure that you are on equal footing and equal ground. So I see potential partnership opportunities, but the Hierophant and the Strength card, those are strong personalities, really strong personalities. So we're looking at like dynamite happening sometimes. So it's either you're completely on board, or you have a really crazy fight and someone storms off. So whether that's a friendship or a love interest in your life, this to me seems like it's cyclical, and that's one of the things that has to stop. A little bit of codependency there too for some of you. So I think this is a month where the energy is really pushing you more to work on yourself and take care of you. So if you're single, maybe it's a good month to just focus on being healthy, being happy, doing the best with your time and energy, and seeing what comes then in the future. Let's review everything that we talked about, and then we're going to go into manifestation. By the way, if you haven't already looked at my manifestation video, it's on my main YouTube page. You can go to my website too, and it'll be linked up there. It's worth looking at. When this goes back to being on replay, I'll also put it as one of the cards. So thank you, by the way. I see an additional kind of super chat and super stickers. I really appreciate it. I'll call you out after the video is live. I'll put a little thank you for all of you that have done that. All right, let's go into what I was channeling. For those of you that joined late, I was referencing both mythology and also a modern movie here. So the main card that I wrote was about Ariadne here, and saying that there's another way out, there's another solution. She has a lot of control in the movie, and also even in mythology, she's the creator of that labyrinth. And there's also a purpose to sometimes those layers of complexity. It could just be about protecting yourself, getting things organized. So kind of pay attention to those two different threads. And then I reminded everyone that in the movie, she had a totem, which was the bishop, which is tied to the Hierophant, which interestingly enough, we got. So we'll talk about that in a second. The big thing this month is important is to really look at where you're at and not compare yourself to others. Really, the face value here is all you need to look at. But one thing that I saw was that there's an ability to come back, to regrow, to do something in a way that's more flexible than the rigid structures here. And that's what the Hierophant's about. There's a choice to either work within the system or to completely have it collapse, like we would see in Inception, the movie, or in The Matrix. It's like you're rebooting it. You have a chance to kind of go into that structure and rip everything out and say, you know what, I have a better way of doing it. So you could be a change agent, a catalyst for change, or you could just start something new and have a big following, because this is like follow the leader. That's part of the high priest or the Hierophant, or in this case, the bishop. No matter how you face this or how you cut this pie up, we have the Wheel of Fortune here that's touching all of this, basically. And if we look at the cards that it is touching in particular, and they could almost be seen as past, present, and future, because it is, the past is the old way of thinking. The present is a chance to sort of sit with what you want to do and decide when to activate. The future is stepping away. That's really what the Eight of Cups is. Knowing that you've done such a good job, you have such good connections that you could actually come back if you want to. The choice is yours if you want to stay, but some of you are moving towards a different phase of your life, a different season of your life. I think perspective is key. It's hit upon in both this comparison card and also the Five of Cups. Focus on what you can do, not what you've lost, or not who is sort of complaining. That's a big thing that I think we all have to focus on. Tune out the negative. It's about choices in investment of your time, your energy, your money. Whether you have a lot or a little, you're going to have more than enough. That's actually what this card says. If people around you can't see that, step away. If you can't see it, start to see it. Also, take care of yourself. This whole spread on the side was about self-improvement. You can walk away from a cycle that hasn't been working. You'll be better for it. You'll be successful at it. And you'll be ready and willing to kind of make that change last and happen. Try to avoid being in a no-win situation, because the Strength card reversed and the Hierophant upright, that's an argument I don't want to see. Those are two really strong-willed people that lack sort of the ability to see each other and understand each other. So I see one or both parties kind of needing to take a break and then maybe coming back. You might need a third party to come in, a mediator, in that particular situation. And even if it's not business, if we're talking about two lovers, two friends, you need an objective third party, whether it's a therapist or someone who has this really kind of kind heart that can weigh it out and help you see what to do. This might be a chance for you to have a third party come in. Money is okay this month. I wouldn't buy anything or invest in anything in a crazy way, because we do see sort of some tightening of the purse strings here. But I'm telling you that with proper choices, you'll be okay. When we expanded it, the throat chakra is coming to life right here. We also have passion, though. So passion is the lower three chakras, particularly the second, the sexual chakra, the creative chakra. And I would also say your power dynamics, bringing that third chakra all the way up. So take your power, focus on speaking your mind, and know that that's going to help you be healthier and happier in your life. Then in your business affairs and in your sort of personal development, be clear on what you're trying to manifest. We'll use this crystal to help us in the meditation for manifestation. And so I don't forget that, I'm going to write that down. Okay. Oops. And then after this, I would like to, let's move along now to love and relationships. Children play a part for many of you. So this could either be a desire to have, not to have, or maybe to connect with younger people in your life. This is also kind of like the Six of Cups. So for me, that is to have some fun, laugh a little bit, because we're not seeing it in the spread here at all. This is a very serious spread, and your sign needs to have some fun. So to me, Six of Cups is connecting with old friends, with people that girlfriends, boyfriends, people that you just want to kind of chill with. And I think I'm saying that in a platonic sense, like your best friend, basically. So take some time, just be, kind of take that inner child and let it have some fun. And I think that's going to be key. And then we see forgiveness being the ultimate card coming through. forgive yourself. I would say forgive yourself, forgive others, knowing that there's more than one way to look at things, and that for some of you, you haven't done anything wrong other than be yourself. And a lot of times people just have a hard time with that because it challenges their expectations of what's acceptable or what's okay. And really that shows something that they need to work on, not something that you need to change or that you need to fix, okay? So let's take a look now at past, present, and future influences for your ability to manifest. And then we're going to move along to the meditation, which is going to also involve healing for the planet, peace for the planet, but also for you too. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the past. All right, this is about stepping away from cycles that no longer suit you. We have the Devil card. The Devil card is reversed. That's a favorable position for this because it's walking away from things that limit you, limit your potential, limit your resources, limit your imagination. So I would say the main thing that I see with this is walk away from limits, walk away from codependencies, and walk away from habits in your life that make you feel like you are less than, that you can't do it. And yes, this can indicate Capricorn energy. I would say in your life, it could be a Capricorn that you're walking away from. It could also be just a need for you to sort of not have, we're looking at themes of control, right? So when I look at Capricorn energy, it's very methodical. It can be very kind of controlling. So there are some areas of your life that you probably want to let go of control as well. And what we get, the control card here, the Chariot. And the interesting thing with the Chariot, I mentioned this the other day when we were doing Aquarius, I believe. This card was reversed. So it's showing me that there is someone in your life that's pulling you in another direction, but you know where to go. So it may be the Strength card. It could also be the Hierophant card. And I mentioned, I don't want to be in that argument. I don't want to be in that situation. And I think that for many of you, neither do you. And one of the ways that you can preserve the relationship, which might be one that you really care about, especially if it's a family member, is just to let it go. We don't always have to win an argument. We don't always have to fight. Sometimes we just move on. And the other thing for you is that you might be at a point in your life where you've decided, I have to do this on my own. I'm my own best advocate. And I think that that's really, really key for many of you, is to just take the reins back, literally, as we see with this Chariot card. We have two different cards that would show constraint or restraint. I always look at the chains in the Devil, and in this one, I'm paying attention to the reins. So you're going to take the control that someone else had and then use it in your life to move forward. Accountability, control. Ariadne, again, she's able to construct. She's the architect. Where is this all headed, and what can you do to be successful in your manifestation, and what might you be manifesting? Three of Pentacles. The fact that they're reversed, I'm not so worried. All of these cards are potential energy, so we're going to focus more on just what the Three of Pentacles has to say. Although I will say, Three of Wands, Three of Pentacles, Four of Wands are some cards that I don't care if they're reversed. So this just means a delay, but success nonetheless. And guess what? Also recognition. You always see a master builder or architect, Ariadne's all over this reading, in Three of Pentacles. It's a card that often comes through for artisans. So like this could be a writer, a painter. It can also be a CEO, a business person that is at the ultimate or penultimate, somewhere first or second in the company that has a lot of eyes on them. And your work this month has a chance to be recognized, or the work that you've done on yourself. This could be all of the experiences in your life up until now. Finally, people are going to come and see it. Normally in the Three of Pentacles, you would be zoomed out a little bit and you would see a couple of people going, and they're pointing to it and they're acknowledging what it is. The fact that we don't see that acknowledgement yet, and the fact that this card was reversed, goes with the time that I was seeing earlier of about 2 to 3, a maximum of 5 months that are required to complete, to engage, as we see even with this, and then also attract the people in your life that are going to see this. So we're in we're doing the reading in January for February. So if we add 5 to that, it could be 5, 6, 7. It can be about June or July that you could expect to start to see this happen. But it's good. The Three of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, you couldn't ask for better things if you're looking at an investment or an opportunity. So believe in yourself. And if nobody else has been able to kind of support you the way you needed to be supported, this is your chance to step into a new level. And at the very least, feel like you're in control of your life. Just being yourself, that can be the Three of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, because it's self-worth and fulfillment. And also taking pride and joy in what you do, whatever it is that you do. And whether or not people ever show up, but they will with the Three of Pentacles, there's a chance for that recognition. It's just a question of if you want it. So some really beautiful things. It has to do with self-development. I didn't get love in this. I really think for many of you, it's about personal development, recognition, and for some of you, just being able to own the fact that you can do this, that self-confidence is really, really important. Okay, let's take a moment now and meditate. And I'm happy that there's so many today. I figured there'd be some additional people with the holidays. So what I want to do today is a 2-part meditation. We're going to focus first on you, on how to bring in that feeling of self-fulfillment, crystal vision. I wrote that down. That's what fell on the floor a moment ago. Crystal vision, self-control, stepping away from things that have held you back and really feeling like you can move forward. So we might do something like a star chariot, something bright that can kind of go through the sky. And then I want to send some healing to the planet. I want to put some peace out on the planet right now, because we're at a place right now where we need that. And we need the energy of Dr. Martin Luther King and other peace workers more than ever. So if you can join in this meditation, please do close your eyes. If you need to tune out and come back later, this will be available to you on the replay. And if you like it, you can always rewatch it, okay? And thank you for being you too. Okay, close your eyes, please, and relax. I want you to, first of all, pay attention to your body, because I had a lot of cards here that show that some of you may be working yourself too much, or you might be stressed out. So in this first breath, I want you to just imagine that you're breathing in the energy of love. If any of you have ever been blessed to have an experience where you connect with, and when I say archangel, I just mean like an ascended energy, the highest energy. So whatever that might be to you, a deity, an angel, God itself, or just the universal flow of energy, if you're slightly more kind of druid-like or pagan-like. If you've ever been able to connect with that gentle creative flow of the universe, it's so beautiful. And I'm going to describe what it feels like as you breathe in this first breath. It is sort of as if you are out on a warm summer day and you can feel this warmth and radiance. It's not so warm that you're sweating or anything. You just feel like this beautiful ray of light comes through your body. So as you breathe, feel that on the 7th chakra, you're going to drink in the light, and it's going to slowly move through your body and warm you up as if you're kind of wrapping this blanket of light and energy into your body. And allow this to be a clearing sensation too, as it works through the 7th chakra, your 3rd eye, your throat, and into your heart. I want you to feel this warmth, this love, this safety, and this feeling that you are completely at ease, like you were a child in a loving parent's arms. And if you didn't receive that as a child, you're going to receive it now. Imagine that the universe, Mother Earth, your divine feminine energy out there, it's going to basically give you a hug. And within its embrace, you feel your heart space start to melt as well. And the energy now goes into your 3rd chakra, where we hold relationship energy. A lot of times, some of those wounds that you might have between you and your mother, or you and your siblings, or early sort of recollections. Let the energy melt that away, almost as if you were going into a great iron forge, and all of those chains from the past are going to melt, create this beautiful orangish yellow light in that space, and then let that move on to where we hold our creativity, our sexual energy, another form of creativity and sort of an ability to bring something into the world. So we saw children. We also saw something that I would associate with like artisan or craft work. And so whether you're going to write a book, create a family, do something beautiful in your life, activate the 2nd chakra. How are you going to express yourself? Feel that within this space, within this divine feminine energy that we're pulling in, Mother Earth and God itself, which I believe is both male and female, but we're going to focus on the divine feminine energy, actually. Allow that to open up that second chakra and allow for expression, for honesty, for you to be you without any fear, without any feeling of not being enough. This is the reason why in many cards or in many old paintings we see nudity with divine figures. It's because there is no need to hide when you are part of the divine. So in this moment, just feel like there's nothing to be ashamed of. You are who you are. Forgive yourself, forgive others, and now allow for that feeling of safety and love to go into your root chakra, where we often lose our sense of stability, and we really need that root chakra to feel stable, because the Five of Pentacles shows you could slip, you could fall. So I want you to have that moment where you steady yourself. So right now, allow yourself to be like that bamboo, stronger than it looks, maybe flexible, but stronger, and nothing's going to be able to break you. This is the actual benefit of the bamboo. In a strong storm, it can bend with the wind, where the tree will actually break. So see yourself as being both strong and flexible. And now send that energy into the planet. Root yourself into Mother Earth for a moment. And with this, allow her to receive a healing as well, of love, of light, and allow yourself to be much like the magician, where you're channeling from God and the universe, you're receiving a healing, and now you're sharing it with the planet. See your energy, whatever color you want it to be, whether it's bright purple, or it's green, or it's blue, or it's red or orange, whatever color you want. Allow that to come into your space, shine like a star on the planet. And I want you to imagine each and every one of us that are doing this meditation right now, and all of those that are going to watch it on the replay, are lighting up the planet and connecting, creating this beautiful universe of light. And let's send love and peace all around the planet, allowing, at least for this 1 or 2 minutes, for there to be a space where Mother Earth isn't worrying about a few of the inhabitants. And let's pray for everybody else on the planet too, to be able to slow down, to see their soul sisters and soul brothers as who they are, just part of their energy. There is an illusion of class, of status, of race, of religion, of color. It doesn't exist. We are all the same. We have been all of these things in other lives. We've been male, we've been female, we've been rich, we've been poor. We've been every walk of life. So let go of the labels. That's not our job. Our job is to focus on ourselves, to love one another, to help one another, to grow, and to make the best of this cycle of death and rebirth. And now for you this month, let's imagine that you're going to break the chains and see something in your life that you don't want anymore. I want you to take a really deep breath, and on the exhale, see the chains melt, see them disappear, because you are shining with your own brilliant light, your own energy. They have no dominion on you. You are not beholden to others' beliefs, to your own past patterns, to anything that has been limiting to you in the past. Break the chains. Let's breathe 2 or 3 times and break those chains. Don't be afraid to breathe. That's going to shift the energy. One more breath. Good. Let the breathing return to a normal state. Take on the creative force that we have seen many times today in the form of the bishop and Ariadne and the strength card itself. A lot of divine feminine energy coming through creation. Take those chains, if they still exist, and create something new with them. Fashion them into something new. Make them into the reins of your own chariot, your own cosmic vehicle if you want to. Because this symbology is outdated, let's imagine perhaps that it's this beautiful ship of light, a star chariot, and you're creating a way to navigate this. Now hold within your mind, or literally reach out your hand and imagine that you have this crystal vision of what it is that you want to create. And see yourself both in the physical and the metaphysical. As you close your eyes, see yourself moving towards that vision. And if you want to take that kind of energy that you're holding in your hands and bring it towards your heart space and melt it into that heart space, do that. And now see yourself moving and also embodying that vision, moving towards it and embodying it. You are in control of this. Many of you, that means that you are going to have to speak up, to stand out, to do something more and be seen, be heard. And for that Three of Pentacles energy that we saw, what is it that you want to share? Is it a dream, like Dr. Martin Luther King? Is it a creation, like a writer, a painter, a musician? Is it simply being the best version of yourself? Are you kind of going to metaphysical school here? Because the Three of Pentacles is usually associated with college. So some of you are just learning. You came to this particular life to deepen your knowledge. Whatever it is, know that it's enough, and know that by honoring it, you are working your divine path. You're creating momentum and movement in your life, and you're unshackling that illusion of that you can't do something. See that vision, know that it can happen, know that it is happening. The Three of Wands is an indication of that, and the sooner you see it, the sooner you believe it, the sooner it will manifest. Before you wake up, I want you to seal this energy in, something I've been doing for all signs. For you, I actually think that you could use the figure 8, an infinity sign that we would see with the magician. So create that figure 8 and step into one of those circles. And then within the other one, I want you to lay down that crystal vision and see yourself tied into this vision of manifesting, and know that you are the magician. We see that above his head like a nimbus. So you have that ability to create this beautiful cycle, and you have a closed circle of energy where you're going to be using your resources, your time, your love, your passion. See that figure 8, see that infinity symbol pulling you towards that, tying you to that vision, allowing for it to manifest. One last breath as we bless that dream, as we give peace to the planet, and we thank one another for showing up today. Gently open your eyes on the exhale. Excellent. Thank you, by the way, to my moderators for keeping things peaceful in the chat while I'm doing that. This is a shared resource, so everybody try to behave. I do appreciate Maria and Ryan for keeping things in a nice space. Thank you so much. This was a really, really beautiful meditation. I had so much energy coming through for your sign. I know someone was worried, like, why does it take so long to get to Pisces? Well, because it takes that long, and you have beautiful messages when I finally get to you. And one thing that I will say, when I've done 11 before that I'm wide open, which I was today, I can give you much more energy. So it should really be Aries saying, why am I first? So it's all about perspective. I really, really do appreciate the ability to be here today for you. I would love for you to connect with me if you haven't already on social media. So I'm going to pull up some visual aids here as I'm talking about that. By the way, if you liked what you saw right now and you'd like to give back while I'm talking, feel free to do a super chat. I'm going to mention that again. It's this little icon here. You can give, like a little, send me a unicorn or something while we're talking if you'd like to. If you want to connect, just to kind of see what's coming through for past videos. If there's nothing left for this month, but if you want a list of everything that we've done, it's all on my website. Same thing with how to connect with me on social media or how to book an appointment. It's a great repository for all of that. I'd love for you to follow me on Facebook if you haven't already. I have an official page. I want you to follow that one, not my personal one. This is the name. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh, obviously. And it's the same as my YouTube address and also Patreon. I'm doing something special for all of you that are channel members like Dana and anyone else that has green text. This month, you have a chance to ask me a question about intuitive development or how I got to what I'm doing today. There's a post for members only in both Patreon and also for anyone that clicks the join button. So take advantage of that perk. Please join me on Instagram too. It's Nicholas_Ashbaugh, and I put reminders in the form of stories, and also sometimes I'll do a video update there. So it's a great way to keep in touch. Same thing with Twitter. Before every reading, I will send usually a couple hours before a reminder. If you're old school and you want to send something through PayPal, it's also Nicholas Ashbaugh, and that's the address, and my moderators have put that out there. But to be safe, just go to my website and everything is there, and you can connect with me from there. So thank you so much to all of the familiar faces that I'm seeing in chat. This was a really great opportunity to connect. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, much love and light to Ryan and Maria as well for helping keep everything organized today. Have a fantastic February, and take a look at your January reading if you haven't. They're also online, and that meditation video. Thanks again. Wishing you much love and light now and always. Have a peaceful, lovely day, and good luck with manifesting everything, okay? I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.